Most people think about grabbing a flashlight and maybe some canned food when a power outage hits. But the real problems start long before you run out of batteries. In 2024, Americans lost power for an average of 11 hours, nearly double what was seen in the previous decade. That number comes straight from the U.S. Energy Information Administration. While hurricanes drove most of those outages, winter storms, aging infrastructure, and grid strain can knock you offline just as fast. The difference between a minor inconvenience and a genuine crisis comes down to whether you understand the 4-hour mark, the hidden water problem, and which safety mistakes send people to the hospital every single year. Here is what happens at the 4-hour point. The FDA and the CDC both say that is when refrigerated food crosses from safe to unsafe if your fridge has been sitting without power. Your refrigerator holds a cold temperature for about 4 hours if you keep the door shut. Every time you open it to check on things or grab something, you are cutting into that window. A full freezer will stay cold enough for 48 hours, but only if it is actually full and you resist the urge to keep opening the door. If your freezer is only half full, you have 24 hours before things start to thaw and spoilage becomes a real concern. The fix is simple, but most people do not do it ahead of time. Keep appliance thermometers in both your fridge and your freezer so that when the power comes back on, you know whether your food hit unsafe temperatures during the outage. The fridge should stay at 40 degrees Fahrenheit or below, and the freezer needs to hold at 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Without those thermometers already in place before the power goes out, you are just guessing, and guessing with food safety is never a good idea. Once you hit that 4-hour mark without power, you need to start making decisions about food. Throw out anything perishable from the fridge. That means meat, poultry, fish, eggs, milk, soft cheeses, leftovers, and cut fruits or vegetables. The rule is straightforward. When in doubt, throw it out. Do not taste food to see if it is still good. Foodborne bacteria do not change the way food looks, tastes, or smells until it is well past the point where it can make you seriously ill. For your freezer, check each item individually. If there are still ice crystals on the food, or if it feels as cold as refrigerator temperature, you can safely refreeze it or cook it right away. If it has been sitting at room temperature for more than 2 hours, or more than 1 hour when outdoor temperatures are above 90 degrees, toss it without hesitation. Before an outage hits, you can buy yourself extra time by filling empty containers with water and freezing them. That extra ice mass helps keep everything cold longer. You can also transfer food to coolers with ice packs once that 4-hour window closes. Dry ice is another option if you think the outage will last more than a day or two. 50 pounds of dry ice will keep an 18 cubic foot fully stocked freezer cold for about 2 days, but always handle it with gloves and never place it in direct contact with food. Now let's talk about water, because this is where people get completely blindsided. You turn on the tap and nothing comes out, or it runs for a moment and then stops. Municipal water systems depend on electricity to run the pumps that move water through treatment plants and push it through miles of pipes to your home. Water and wastewater utilities can consume 30 to 40% of a local government's total energy budget. When the power goes down, those pumps stop. You might get water for a short while from elevated storage tanks, but that supply runs out faster than most people expect. If you are on a private well, the situation is even more immediate. No electricity means your well pump does not run, which means you have no water at all until the power is restored. People do not fully appreciate how much water they use in a day until they no longer have it. The Federal Emergency Management Agency and the CDC recommend storing a minimum of 1 gallon of water per person per day. Half of that is for drinking, and the other half covers basic sanitation and food preparation. For a family of 4, that is 12 gallons just to make it through 3 days. Store it in food-grade containers, keep them in a cool and dark place, and rotate your supply every 6 months so it stays fresh. If you receive a storm warning and suspect the power might go out, fill your bathtub with water. That gives you a large reserve for flushing toilets and general washing. Your water heater also holds 30 to 50 gallons that you can access through the drain valve at the bottom. Just make sure the power and gas to the heater are fully off before you drain any of it. When it comes to purifying water from questionable sources, boiling is the most reliable method. Bring water to a rolling boil for at least 1 minute, which kills bacteria, viruses, and parasites. The downside is that boiling consumes fuel, which may be limited during a prolonged outage. A better long-term solution is a gravity-fed water filter, which uses ceramic or composite filter elements to remove contaminants without requiring any electricity. These systems are slow, but they can process thousands of gallons over the life of the filters. If you choose the chemical route, plain, unscented household bleach works. Use 1/8 teaspoon of bleach per gallon of water, mix it well, and let it sit for 30 minutes before drinking. Make sure the bleach contains no added scents or cleaners and that it is 5.25 to 8.25% sodium hypochlorite. After the 30-minute wait, a faint smell of chlorine should be detectable. If it is not, add another dose and wait an additional 15 minutes. Your phone's flashlight is not an emergency lighting plan. It will drain your battery within a couple of hours, and then you have lost both your light source and your ability to communicate. A real flashlight with quality batteries will run for 10 to 40 hours, depending on the model and the brightness setting you use. You want at least 300 to 500 lumens for most tasks. Lumens measure the total light output. The higher the number, the brighter and more useful the beam. Battery choice matters here as well. AA and AAA batteries are widely available, which is an advantage in an emergency when you might need to resupply. Lithium batteries have a shelf life of up to 20 years and perform better in extreme temperatures, though they cost more upfront. Rechargeable batteries are a smart choice if you have a way to recharge them through a solar panel or a power bank. Keep at least one flashlight per person in your household as a baseline, and store extras in places where you spend time regularly, including your car and your workplace. Headlamps are worth having because they free up both hands for whatever task you are working on. Lanterns are ideal for lighting up an entire room rather than directing a narrow beam at a single spot. Aim for at least 350 lumens from a lantern to get useful coverage. What you should avoid is relying on candles as your primary light source. House fires increase during power outages because people become careless with open flames. Battery-powered flashlights and lanterns are safer, more reliable, and more effective. Portable generators kill people every year through carbon monoxide poisoning. The Consumer Product Safety Commission reports an average of 80 deaths each year, and those deaths happen because people run generators in the wrong location. Carbon monoxide is colorless and odorless. You cannot see it, smell it, or detect it without a working alarm, and it can kill in minutes. The rule is absolute. Generators operate outside only, at least 20 feet away from any door, window, vent, or garage opening. Point the exhaust away from your house and any neighboring buildings. Do not run a generator in your garage even if the garage door is fully open. Carbon monoxide accumulates faster than most people realize, and drifts into living spaces through any gap or vent it can find. If you are connecting a generator to your home's electrical system, a transfer switch installed by a licensed electrician is required. Without one, the generator can backfeed electricity onto utility lines and electrocute workers trying to restore power in your neighborhood. The same principle applies to any fuel-burning equipment. No gas stoves, no charcoal grills, no propane camping heaters should ever be operated indoors. People often assume that cracking a window will be enough to ventilate the space safely. It is not. You need working carbon monoxide detectors on every level of your home and outside each sleeping area. Use battery-operated models or models with battery backup so they continue functioning when the power is out. Test them every month and replace the batteries once a year. If a carbon monoxide alarm sounds, get outside immediately and call emergency services. Symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning include headache, dizziness, weakness, nausea, and confusion. If you experience any of those symptoms while operating a generator or fuel-burning device, get into fresh air without delay. If you are using electric space heaters because your main heating system is out, keep them at least 3 feet away from anything that can burn, including beds, curtains, papers, and furniture. Plug the heater directly into a wall outlet and avoid using an extension cord, which can overheat and become a fire hazard. Make sure the heater has an automatic shut-off feature if it tips over. Never leave a space heater running while you are asleep or out of the room. Understanding the timeline of a multi-day outage helps you stay ahead of problems. At the 4-hour mark, move anything you want to save from the fridge into a cooler with ice or ice packs. But recognize that once it is in the cooler, you need to keep that cooler below 40 degrees. Use the food from your refrigerator first before pulling anything out of the freezer. After 12 hours without power, shift into water rationing mode. Start tracking how much water you have and how much you are using. Check your flashlight batteries and backup lighting to assess where you stand. Keep your phone charged or use it sparingly, and check in with family or neighbors if you are able. At the 24-hour point, freezer contents in a half-full unit are running out of time. Begin cooking or preserving what you can, or move items to a better cold source. If running water is gone or low pressure creates a contamination risk, switch to your stored water for everything, including brushing your teeth. Sanitation without running water requires some practical thinking. If toilets will not flush, you can line the bowl with a heavy trash bag, add kitty litter or sawdust after each use, seal the bag securely, and dispose of it later. It is not pleasant, but it keeps conditions sanitary and manageable. By 48 hours, look into community resources if they are available. Cooling centers or warming centers, depending on the season, may be operating through local emergency management. At 72 hours, if the power remains out, escalate any medical needs you have been managing on backup power or batteries. If you depend on medical devices such as a CPAP machine, oxygen concentrator, or require insulin refrigeration, this is when you need to connect with local emergency services or medical facilities and develop a plan for the next stage of the outage. Preparation does not have to be expensive to be effective. At the $50 level, focus on the fundamentals. Buy 12 gallons of bottled water, 2 decent flashlights with at least 300 lumens each, a pack of batteries, a manual can opener, and a basic first aid kit. That covers your immediate survival needs. With $150, add a gravity water filter, a headlamp, a lantern, a quality cooler, and a couple of large ice blocks kept in your freezer specifically for emergencies. A battery-powered weather radio lets you receive official emergency alerts, even when your power and internet are both down. At $500, you are building a comprehensive system. Consider a quality generator with a carbon monoxide shutoff feature, a 30-day supply of shelf-stable food, battery backup for any critical medical devices, and a propane camp stove for outdoor cooking only. A solar generator or portable power station with lithium iron phosphate batteries is a quieter and cleaner alternative to gas-powered generators. Meaningful preparation can also happen at no cost. Fill clean containers with tap water and store them now. Download offline maps to your phone before a storm arrives. Charge every power bank you own before severe weather approaches. Print out your important contacts and any medical information, because when your phone battery dies, those digital records become inaccessible. If you still have a landline, keep at least one corded phone that operates without electricity. If the power went out right now and stayed out for 72 hours, the 4-hour food safety window, the hidden water dependency, the 20-foot generator rule, the transfer switch requirement, and the carbon monoxide detectors that need to be in place before anything goes wrong are the details that separate people who ride out an outage without serious trouble from those who end up in an emergency room or lose everything in their refrigerator because they did not know the clock was already ticking.